Another trip back to Namibia. This time the trip is to document Expedition Africa Namibia. Quick stop for some biltong and straight to the border post. The plan was to get into Namibia as quickly as possible from Cape Town. This was my mate Paul's first trip to Namibia. Quick stop to this crazy viewpoint just outside Alzenkier. With no campsites booked, the plan was just to wing it. For our first night we ended up camping at Boerplaas on the Orange River. Dirty grid, no problem, clean it with sand. Put Paul straight to work in his Birkenstocks. First campfire of the trip and watching the full moon rise. Very early start with lots of driving to be done to show Paul some cool places that I found on previous trips. Paul super stoked with the canyon drive that we did in the morning. Our plan for this trip was to always have breakfast and coffees at different locations on our drives. Next stop, unplanned detour to Fish River Canyon. The last time I was here was back in 2021. Absolutely insane views and always time for another coffee break. Met this cool couple from Canada who are doing a 42-day overland trip around Namibia. I would definitely go D707. All the red dunes are over here, so boring compared to that. After Fish River, it was back on the road to get to Keetmanshoop to our campsite for the night. Crazy scenery between Fish River and Keetmanshoop. Quick stop at the Cannon Roadhouse to refuel. You should definitely stop here to check this place out. It's pretty cool. Paul finally spotted his first zebra that he thought was a donkey. The first zebra? Yes. And an oryx. With still a long drive, it was time to get to our campsite for the night. After our long drive from the Orange River and our detour to the Fish River Canyon, we finally arrived at our Quiver Tree Forest Rest Camp for the night. We did some exploring around the quiver trees. Paul's always hungry, so I had to make another very fulfilling dinner. 4 a.m. start, and it was time to hit the road to get to Windhoek to meet the Mountain Mammoth team. Stopped for fuel and these guys gave my car a much needed clean. Back on the road with an insane full moon drive and a roadside breakfast stop. With just over a day planned in Windhoek, we had lots to do. We had to sort out the car alignment and repack the car to be self-sufficient for the next 5 to 6 days. Another 3 a.m. start with a 400k to Walvis Bay for the start of the Expedition Africa race. I set up the Hilux specifically so we could edit and be offline during the trip. This trip gave us the opportunity to go to places that we'd never been to before.
No words for that, man. It's incredible.
For the race, we're working off maps and waypoints and GPS points to follow our team. Okay, let's go.
Yeah, perfect. Not too hot, not too long, soft but beautiful. When the sun started to set, it's amazing. Very cool.
Hey Paul, that is yours and that is mine. Yeah. Another 3 a.m. start. Because of the race, we had access to areas where you're not normally allowed to go. Day 2 of the Expedition Africa race was an early start heading out into the canyon to find the team. With live tracking we had a rough idea where the team was, so we had maps and waypoints to find our way through the canyon to find them in the morning. The drive through the canyon on sunrise was insane, and luckily we found the guys just in time for the perfect sunrise. We managed to follow them for a bit. Just remember, we're not allowed to help the team at all.
Touch and go last night when we ran out of liquids. The tiny little bits out of each bottle and put into one bottle and sort of shared. It should happen, so and we coped.
How's this canyon? Blows my mind. That's what adventure racing does. Brings you to places like this.
With still a lot of driving planned in the canyon for the full day, it was time to air down the tires using Indiflate and straight back onto the maps and the waypoints to find the team later on in the day. Every single corner we drove around, there were the most insane and spectacular views and locations that we found. Left a quick note for my mate Joe from Bonafide Motorco to find on a later trip. Next up for the day was to find a rad breakfast spot. We obviously try and do this after we see the team so they don't get too jealous about our food. What you do when you're not shooting the Mountain Mammoth team with that out. Never trust Paul with the cooking. Paul, you had one job and you burnt my fork.
You said you want to have the bacon crispy.
After the quick breakfast, it was time to head back out and to get to another location to find the team. On Expedition Africa, the teams are self-supportive, use paper maps and a compass, and no outside help. With no more access to the guys, that was it for day 2. It was time to head back to camp, set up and repack the car. Lots of driving and waiting. While mishing around finding the guys, we came across some Awicha plants and a quick stop at the Moon Landscape Viewpoint. All the guys have just passed us over here, so let's find our way home. It was time to head out, resupply, to head out and find some cool spots to shoot to them later that night. We had quite a bit of time on our hands knowing we were only going to see them late at night, around 11 p.m, hopefully if everything went to plan. It was crazy driving through the canyon at night. Yes, how's this angle? Managed to find one of the checkpoints at a cave called Flintstone Cave. There it is, found the checkpoint. And eventually we found the guys, and they were pretty
Tough
broken.
day, 40-degree heat.
Today was about new adventure racing routes.
A very, very tough, brutal, but yet beautiful day.
It's been flippin'
I
hot.
was ready to follow the Mountain Mammoth team to see how they found checkpoints with just a map and a compass.
So we can hit it here until we get to that same mine that we walked next to this morning.
Yeah. So we should be then
9:45, then we get up and go. Set your alarm, Ellen. 9:45.
10.
15-minute nap. With only 2 hours sleep, the guys were straight back on the bike for a brutal 160-kilometer ride.
Legs up, Paul. But we had about 2 hours of sleep. Brutal day. Another one.
4:30 in the morning. Saf and I have been riding for about, I'd say, 45 minutes. The only time we're going to get to see them today is during the dark, because they're going into a restricted area. We're not allowed to go in. So with a lot of restricted areas, we're often not allowed to follow the team to take photographs. So often we have to do big loop rounds to meet up with them again. That is ridiculous. I can't believe where this race has taken us. Day 3 Expedition Africa Namibia. We managed to track the guys into daylight. And yes, I did tell the team what to do.
Just on the crest there, just sit behind each other on your wheel so I get a silhouette shot of the sun. It's going to be epic. Just listen to me.
After leaving the team, we had to loop back 150 kilometers to find them, as they were heading into restricted areas. Insane drive through some spectacular landscapes. We managed to find a high viewpoint so we could see them arriving from far away, and always time to make a coffee while we're waiting. After an hour of waiting, the guys finally arrived, so we decided to track them back to the checkpoint. You could see that they were completely broken. The cycle leg had definitely taken its toll on them.
We were warned about this stage, easterly headwind. We survived.
Yo, racing with the most amazing team.
Done quite a few things, but nothing like we did today.
Leaving them to rest, we headed to the checkpoint to start our edits to get some media out to the crew. The team decided to rest, so we headed out to Spitzkoppe on a hell of a road. It was super rutted. This gave us time to get to Spitzkoppe, set up camp, and get the edit started. This was my first time at Spitzkoppe, and I was super excited to wake up for sunrise. Another early start at Spitzkoppe. Paul is not a morning person. I had to work on my burn that I got from a braai. My plan for the morning was to visit the Spitzkoppe Arch, as this was both Paul and myself's first time visiting Spitzkoppe. While the guys were out suffering, we were being tourists. After having a rad sunrise mission around the arch, it was time to get back to find the team and get some more photographs of them. Also mission up a chain climb to find the guys. They had a very long night on the bike, and it was really cool to once again follow them while they were navigating.
Taken us a little bit longer than we thought. 27 hours.
I really want to talk about the roads.
Some good war stories.
It was brutal. We haven't slept much, but we're feeling strong.
While they were out finding checkpoints, we decided to go look at the Bushman paintings in the area. I definitely recommend visiting Spitzkoppe. This was Safi's teammate from the last race, still waiting for Safi because he got lost. Then I was back on another mission to the rope climb viewpoint to find the guys. This section was pretty tricky with very slippery ground.
Wait till you see what's holding the rope.
The view was insane. Managed to get a few shots, but no time to hang around, and straight back down. Straight back up to follow the guys to the abseil. This section was quite tricky with a lot of technical climbing sections.
This is the moment of truth.
We're going to abseil down now, but
It was quite tricky, that hard abseil. The ropes were hooking and everything.
The team were finally on the home stretch.
Safi, going to fit through here.
Hey, help!
After a long day out missioning, it was time to leave the team and sort out all our own admin.
Ah, mother. Get home. I'm going to be one big bandage. Yes, the desert's been so hectic. Injury after injury. Keep hurting myself. Don't know what to do anymore, Paul.
are we doing good, eh?
I'm still alive.
With the finish line in sight, it was time for guys to do the final
Put a
bike
hole
ride.
in my leg.
Flipping right out there. Gonna go have a good sleep and we're gonna ride through the night.
With a long day out hiking, it was finally time for the guys to head out on the bike. Plan was for them to cycle through the night.
Don't try and sleep in a transition. Didn't get much sleep.
We would only see them the next morning, so it was time for us to do a long drive back to the final transition point. Paul really isn't a morning person.
Paul. Very late.
We took any opportunity to edit while we could, while we're driving or waiting, and to repack and clean the car. We had some questions about power. We used the Anchor 757 power station to charge all our gear.
Felt moisture on my face. Thought it was dust. We had the thickest mist. So we sleep somewhere on the route.
The team's final day was a 43-kilometer track with a 2-kilometer camel ride. Yes, a camel ride. Although this was the last leg, it wasn't the easiest.
What's that smell?
The morning had started off super cold, but temperatures quickly picked up, with the team needing some shade.
7.
Our plan for the last leg was to follow them for a few hours and find some cool locations for photos, as there was a certain point where we were not allowed to follow the team anymore. With the rad day out, it was time to head back to camp and to wait it out for the next morning for the team. Temperatures dropped and it got very cold that night.
Everything was going well till checkpoint 48. Body just shut
The
down.
last 2 kilometers saw the guys doing a camel ride. 118 hours later, Team Mountain Mammoth crossed the finish line in Spitzkoppe. Next up was our 1,700 kilometer trip back to Cape Town. With the event done, it was time to hit the road. Quick stop at the Tropic of Capricorn sign, which lies at 23 degrees south of the equator. Next stop was Solitaire for the famous pies. Unfortunately, they were sold out. If you ever want to get pies at Solitaire, I do recommend getting there early. Arrived at sunset at the Sosos Oasis campsite. We were lucky to get a campsite away from all the other campers. That was us for the evening. It was time to prep food, light the fire, and enjoy the sunset. After dinner, while sitting at the fire, we had a Cape Fox visit our campsite. 4:30 the next morning, we woke up to freezing temperatures. Time for coffee and to hit the road. This was a first for me, leaving Cesium so early in the dark. A refuel better and a cupcake for my son's birthday, which I missed.
Hey Cobes, happy birthday.
Some crazy scenery on the drive back to Cape Town. We saw giraffe, martial eagle, and even saved an oryx.
Go.
Got a few drone shots for driving back and stopped at this really cool caravan farm store that you will find close to the end of the D707.
Thanks so much.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Lunch stop where the Fish River joins Orange River, and then back on the road to get across the border. After 2 weeks in Namibia, it was really weird to be back on tar roads. And just like that, 2 weeks in Namibia was over, and it was time to pack up all the gear from the trip. And that's it for our Expedition Africa Namibia trip. Thanks for watching.